See, I moved to Denver, Colorado back in 1987. In 1988, I bought a house in an area of town called Washington Park. Bought an old 1928 bungalow. Now, I was single at the time, living alone. I did not get married until I was 37 years old. By the way, if you're older and never been married, do you not get really tired of people asking you that stupid question? How come you're 35, never been married? How come you're 36, never been married? Let me give you a way to respond to those people to shut them up. When people would say to me, how come you're 35, never been married? I used to say, I'm just not ready to make that 2 to 3 year commitment. Yeah, they never asked again. However, when I got married, my wife Darla said, don't ever tell that joke again, and I don't. But I used to. And so I'm single, I'm living alone in my new old house there in Washington Park. I've been there about 2 days. There's a knock on the front door. I open the front door, and standing there is a relatively short fellow, about 5'1", 5'2", 105 pounds, pencil-thin mustache, blue uniform, carrying a bag. He says, good morning, Mr. Sanborn. My name is Fred. I am your postman. I just stopped by to say welcome to the neighborhood and introduce myself and find out a little bit about you and what you do for a living. Now, I've been receiving mail all of my adult life. I can't ever recall getting a personal introduction to my postal carrier, but I thought it was a nice touch. I said, Fred, thanks for stopping by. I said, I am a professional speaker. I do not have a real job. Fred said, well, that's important for me to know. If you're a speaker, you probably travel a lot. I said, yeah, I'm on the road a couple hundred days a year. He said, great. If you'll just give me your calendar so that I know when you're in town. I'll hold your mail for you, I'll bundle it, and I'll only deliver it on the days that you're here to receive it. Now, I never had a choice of a la carte mail service before either. I said, Fred, that's probably not necessary. I've got a box nailed right here by the door on the side of the house. Why don't you just leave the mail in the box? I'll pick it up when I get back into town. Fred said, oh, Mr. Sanborn, let me point out in this neighborhood, as in most, when your box is full of mail, the burglars know you're out of town and you might be robbed. He said, here's what I'd recommend instead. He said, I'll be glad to put mail in your box as long as the lid closes. That way nobody will know that you're gone. Any mail that doesn't fit in your box, I'll put in between the screen door and the front door. Nobody can see it there. And if that area becomes too full of mail, I'll hold the rest of your mail for you until you come back into town. Now, Fred is more worried about my mail than I am. But I figure he is the postal professional. I say, okay, Fred, let's try that. A couple weeks later, I'm coming back from a trip. Now, as I'm unlocking the front door, I notice my doormat is missing. My front porch is half the size of this riser. I look around on my front porch, I see my doormat's in the corner, but it's covering something. Here's what had happened. UPS had misdelivered a box of mine 5 doors down, left my box on somebody else's porch. Lucky for me, Fred the postman was on the job. Fred saw my box on the wrong porch, picked up this heavy box, carried it down to my porch, put it in the corner, wrote a personal note of explanation on it, then tried to disguise it with a doormat so nobody would take it. Not only is Fred delivering the mail, now he's picking up slack for UPS. First time I told this story in LA, a guy comes up at the end of the speech. He said, now be honest, were you talking about the United States Postal Service? Or does Denver have their own? I said, no, unbelievably, this is the USPS. That first Christmas, 1988, I leave a little gift in the box for Fred. I'm grateful for his tremendous service. Next day that mail gets delivered, I have an unusual letter in my mail. See, the letter has a stamp on it, but the stamp's not canceled. I see from the return address, the letter is from Fred Shea, my postal carrier. See, Fred lives in North Glen. I lived in Denver. Fred knows it is a felony to put unposted mail in a box. So even though he carried the letter from his house to my house, he still put a stamp on just to keep it legal. So after I cut the stamp off, I read the letter. The letter says, Dear Mr. Sanborn, thank you for remembering me at Christmas. I'm flattered that you talk about me in your speeches and seminars. I hope I can continue to provide exceptional service. Sincerely, Fred the postman. Now let's fast forward the clock. 1995, I met my wife, Darla. We got married. 1997, we were expecting our first child, so we moved down to the suburbs, Highlands Ranch. But for almost 10 years, Fred Shea delivered my mail, later her mail as well. And it wasn't until I wrote the book that I ever had a chance to ask Fred the question, why do you do it? See, he does not get paid more. There is no compensation, no incentive for above average performance. He does not come to nice venues like this for meetings. As a matter of fact, for years, I was afraid that if the Postal Service found out what he was doing, they'd make him stop. And I asked Fred, at the end of the book, there are 6 things that motivate Fred. I said, Fred, why do you do what you do? He said, I lay in bed at night and I only worry about one thing. Figure that's pretty good. And there's a lot of things I worry about when I lay in bed at night, look at that little red dot in the smoke detector on the hotel ceiling. Fred said, the only thing I worry about when I lay in bed at night is, did I waste any of the day I just finished? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to summarize everything I know from 20 years being in this business, talking about these principles. Everything I have built my business, my career, my life on can be summarized in this simple idea I will share with you, I share in the book, and that is this: fear nothing but to waste the present moment.